We all love vampires because, of course, it's perfectly natural to want to drink the blood of your enemy. If you've ever been given a parking ticket, then you'll know exactly what I mean. But what is it about this particular blood-drinking plutocrat, Count Dracula from Transylvania? Why has he captured the imagination of our culture? Well, I suspect, and it's just my theory, but I suspect what happened was that the Islamic armies which conquered Eastern and Balkan Europe in the early Middle Ages had to somehow persuade those medieval Christian peasants to distrust their local landlord and their local priest. And I suspect the best way of doing this was to tell them, look, the local landlord, he drinks the blood of Christ every Sunday at Mass because he's an Orthodox Christian. Why shouldn't he also drink your blood and your children's blood? Look how cruel he is. And so I suspect that the myth of Count Dracula possibly originated in an Islamic psyop in that part of Europe. And now, what about witches and their cats? Well, there's another theory I have about that. In the 1970s, a hospital in New York noticed that a disproportionate number of young men who were crashing their motorbikes also tested positive for a parasite called Toxoplasmosis gondii. And they started to ask, what is the connection toward having this parasite and crashing your motorbike? And it turns out there is a connection. The Toxoplasmosis gondii parasite has a very complex life cycle, but one stage of its life cycle involves getting itself from the body of a mouse to the body of a cat. And the way it achieves this is by releasing chemicals into the mouse's brain, which cause the mouse to be disinhibited around fear. So whereas the mouse, when it smells a cat, should usually run away, a mouse which is infected with the parasite will go toward the cat. It becomes attracted to things which will cause it danger. And it seems that this parasite, if it gets into the body of a human, via a cat usually, has something of a similar effect on us, only very slightly, but a similar effect nonetheless. So this is perhaps how you get this archetype of the mad old lady with the cat. Yes, there is possibly a chemical connection between somebody and their cat. But what is it about witches specifically and cats? Well, I suspect that after the 30 Years' War, which is when we had the first big witch hunt in Europe, it was prudent to kill a certain demographic of mad old lady with cat who threatened the social stability of villages at that time, when so many of the men had been killed and there were so many dependent people around as a result and the economy was so badly affected. The last thing you wanted was some grumbling ne'er-do-well or somebody who might sort of upset the status quo or question the religious authorities. So you go and kill the mad old lady with a cat. And I suspect that that's the idea of where the idea of witches with cats comes from.